is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome in the late arriving Royden Ogletree, which is why we
don't have to tell them
we're
that.
5 minutes late, but it's
Tell
fine.
them that.
It's fine. It's fine.
I left late and I hit every red light.
Oh, I know.
possible
It
on the
happens.
way.
It happens, Royden. Here's the great thing about the podcast world. It's not like radio or TV where, if you're not on like right at the top of the hour,
Just ad dollars.
It's ad. Well, yeah, it's not that, or it's what are we going to do until, like if you went to like film the news and all the anchors got stuck in the other side of the building that the studio was, and you had to like wait, like, the guy's going to open the door in 5 minutes. You're like, what time is it? It's 5:59. Like, you would be screwed. There's nothing you can.
Fun fact: we have a show that starts. We have a show that runs from 4 until 4:47 or 4:57 in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And so in that time, the anchor has to get mic'd up and come in for the 5 o'clock show. And you'd be shocked how many times they are not in front of the camera until about 15 seconds to go.
Oh, I'm not. I would not be.
Yeah.
Most people would be. I would not be.
It's turn face camera today on KWTX at 5.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get it. Like, there's live TV is a juggling act. It is absolutely. It is absolutely that. Like, just when you think like, oh, good, I'm at 10. Like, oh yeah, all right, can you do 11? Here you go, and then and then you're just there. So no, but it's good because you can be flexible with things.
Right.
I
apologize to the viewers. I know they were waiting with bated breath.
Well,
to watch this
sometimes
show.
It builds the anticipation.
Right, exactly.
Right, it builds the anticipation. So, have you ever been to a concert and it's supposed to start at 8? And then it's like 8:15. It's
By the way,
like 8:20.
they never do. I've gone to a lot more concerts now that I have, money.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to a lot when I was younger, which I would have had more patience for this. Whatever, man. Now I'm fastly approaching 30, and I'm just like, whew.
Yeah.
Blink-182 better come out on stage, man. It's like,
I'll tell you what, and it's one of the reasons they're my favorite band. Well, I went to the Foo Fighters in Houston. Mm-hmm. The concert started at 7. Opening act comes on. The Struts, who were amazing.
Yeah.
Struts come on at 7:05. They play until like 8 o'clock or so. Then you've got like 30 minutes or so of changeover. And then at 9 o'clock, Dave Grohl and the boys come out. And they play on the dot. It's like he's obsessed with it. Because in a lot of places you have like post-midnight noise ordinances.
Yeah.
So there in the Woodlands where I saw them, obviously there's going to be a post-midnight noise ordinance, because if you've never been to the Woodlands, it's a really nice area of Houston, but there's like a mall and there's this huge, wonderful amphitheater there where they have concerts. And then
it's like the only place in Houston with a zoning ordinance.
Yeah. And then there's like just a neighborhood. It's just a neighborhood. So it's a subdivision, there's neighborhood, there's houses everywhere. So I can imagine that there are people who live close, especially ones that have kids that around 10 o'clock are like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But you should have known that when you moved there.
Right.
But they do have a midnight zoning ordinance, like where it's noise has to stop. And literally the last like bang of the drum is 11:56.
Nice.
So he's like, all right, thank you, Houston. We love you. All right. We'll be back again next year.
Not a curtain call.
He's he's already done that. Like, already done that. Like, timed out perfectly. On time, 3 straight hours pretty much of music. They don't stop. There's no BS. Like, it is a concert where you have sometimes it's just, I went to see Garth Brooks last year. That last year? Yeah, I went to see 2 years ago. I went to see Garth Brooks. It was an amazing show. Amazing show. He did not start on time. He did not start.
Doesn't have to, man.
Yeah, like he threw like when the concert was supposed to start, he threw some guy out on stage that was like, a friend of his who was like a studio musician. He brought all the studio musicians on tour.
Yeah.
He like threw him out on stage, and that guy sang for a little bit. And I was like, all right, I don't know him. I don't care. Then Trisha comes out and sings a couple songs.
Here's the dude who actually wrote Low Places.
Yeah. That guy that guy was old. Oh,
Yeah.
Like he wrote like he had him there. He had all the studio musicians and his tour musicians. That was his whole big deal, was take these guys who'd never been on a big tour out. It was really cool. But like Garth comes out and kills it, but like he was not on time. It's almost also that was at Jerry World, which is I'm sure there's like don't start on time.
Don't worry
We'll
about
sell more $750 beers.
Oh, brother. The last time we went to Ed Sheeran, whatever you think about the artist, I love him, but we went, huge stadium tour, AT&T. I was like, I'll get a couple drinks. We spent good portion of our paycheck. If you want to get a buzz on, it's like, anybody that's been knows, but I'm just saying, I was like, by the time Ed Sheeran got out there, I was like, I have spent more money than these tickets cost.
If you want to get plowed at Jerry World, you need to take out a second mortgage. Mm-hmm. You absolutely do. It's ridiculous.
Use your student loans.
It's very expensive. Yeah, exactly. Pull out a home equity line of credit. Lots of people have 3 mortgages on their home.
Yeah, they're called doctors.
Yeah. All right. Let's dive into the Big 12 and the quarterbacks for this coming year. We have a lot of them. We have 16.
So many quarterbacks.
There'll be 16 quarterbacks, and for the most part, they are all pretty much settled. There's not a whole lot of battles when it comes down to that. Sam Kahn very nicely put it together in The Athletic for us today, so I thought it would be a thing that we could go through. And also, hopefully get Sam some more readers. Because he's awesome.
I had to look it up, too, because going from, last year, 14? But going from only having to remember 10 for so many years to having to remember 16, not that great at math, but I think that's, 8 more than usual. And I think that I just was like, I just kept scrolling. I was like, I forgot about this team. I forgot about this team.
Yeah.
Oh, Utah. They're there. Yeah. Arizona. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so let's go through, who we've got and who we like. I'm going to let's just rank my top 3 and then your top 3.
Okay.
And then Garrett, get in on this as well.
All right.
Okay. So my top 3, Garrett's top 3, and Royden's top 3. So my top 3 are going to be Noah Fafita, Shadur Sanders, and Jalen Daniels. That's going to be my top 3.
My top 3 would be Jalen Daniels, Shadur Sanders, and then Cam Rising, if healthy, being the big asterisk if his legs tend to work.
Okay.
I would have to go Noah Fafita number 1. Man. I want Avery Johnson number 2. I don't trust Shadur. Or really, I just don't trust that situation. And number 3, let me scroll through here. You know what? Give me KJ Jefferson.
Okay,
really?
There we go. KJ Jefferson. So what might have been thought, I think, maybe going into the Big 12 is that this is not going to be a good quarterback league. Mm-hmm. But I could make an argument that the quarterbacks in this league might be deeper. I know that right now they're deeper than the ones in the Big 10 because there's still a lot of questions about that. And maybe deeper than the ACC right now. Like, the ACC is relying on a lot of transfers there. Like,
it's top heavy, though.
Yeah. So, but like, I think throughout, look, so I'll just list the starting quarterbacks and like, we'll all, if you like, don't be like overly judgmental here.
Right.
But if you're fine with this guy being your quarterback, the quarterback of this team, we'll just say yes or no. Okay. We all like Noah Fafita. Right. So that's obvious. Or you can say like jury's out, which Arizona State has Sam Leavitt. We'll say jury's out. We haven't seen him play. DeQuan Finn, I'm okay with that. I really am. Baylor, I think, and that's like honestly the best Baylor could have done. Like they maybe even exceeded what I thought they were going to do in the portal with DeQuan.
They raised their floor by a lot with that pickup.
Gary Bohannon at BYU.
I'm not really sold.
Yeah, well,
I love Gary. I love everything that he did. I still think he should have stuck around to be the quarterback for one more year at Baylor, to be completely honest, based on how that offense operated. He'd run into some bad injury luck, too, and those USF teams weren't good anyway. But I don't know if he can throw the ball.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of being a quarterback.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Cincinnati, Brendan Sorsby, who comes in from Indiana. Like, we'll see. Again, we'll see. Shadur, I think we'd all, like, if he was the quarterback of your team, you wouldn't be that upset about it. I know that you and I have differing feelings about where his
whatever we want to say about
go.
Shedeur Sanders and like how much his quarterback play leads to actual winning.
Yeah.
He still almost had like a 70% completion percentage and threw like 5 picks last year. So he can sling it.
Yeah. I'm going to put this guy squarely in the middle, Donovan Smith. He's got a lot of experience. He can do some things. Rocco Beck proved to me that guy can win games.
He's pretty salty.
So he's good. Jalen Daniels, I love. Avery Johnson, I love. I think we all agree on those. Alan Bowman, all right.
No,
I mean,
dude, you're 28 with
Go home.
AARP, bro.
Get a job.
I know Oklahoma State people watching are like, oh, you're too hard on Bowman. He's had one good season.
I've seen it for 7 seasons.
Yeah, we know what it is. They can be better.
As my friend Dex Hinton would say, you too can go pro in something other than sports.
Yeah. TCU with Josh Hoover, I don't know.
He showed
flashes. All right. He should be all right.
He showed flashes.
Yeah. Baron Morton, I'm really fine with.
I like
Texas
Baron
Tech.
Morton.
I like Baron Morton.
He's got a
KJ,
high upside for Baron Morton. Great
Just be
arm,
healthy.
obviously. Yeah, be healthy. He's got to turn down on the interceptions though too. Turn over where they play.
KJ Jefferson, I think we all like. We're all there on that. Cam Rising, we all like. And Garrett Green.
I like Garrett Green.
I like Garrett Green. He's a fun player. But
he's fun to watch run around, man. I every time that you're playing Garrett Green, it's a lot of yes, no, yes plays. But he raised the ceiling of that West Virginia team and probably should have been playing earlier than when they had him playing anyway.
So I'm just if I did a quick perusal of the ACC here, I did another one of these. Okay, well, maybe it's gone. But yeah, no, if you look at the ACC, after, you get to DJU and Cade Klubnik, who we both know can lead teams to winning seasons, and Cam Ward, who's at Miami, and has not led teams to winning seasons, but it's not been his fault necessarily. He's been kind of most of the offense. So
I keep saying this, but he raised the ceilings of whatever those Washington State teams are going to do.
Yeah. So those 3 guys for sure.
Malik Murphy's interesting.
But then you have Malik Murphy at Duke, Haynes King at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Max Johnson at UNC.
Sneaky had a really decent season last year, Haynes King. Kind of a bounce back for him. Still 185 pounds.
Kyle McCord at Syracuse. We'll see how that works out.
Kyron Jones, Virginia Tech.
Kyron Jones, they're all kind of there.
Yeah.
They're all kind of there in the middle, right? Grayson McCall maybe at NC State, but we'll see if he can hang at this level. He's probably at the top end of those guys we all
Another
listed.
guy that's also 27 years old.
But Grayson McCall, those guys. So comparatively to the ACC, and look, the SEC has a ton of questions. Garrett Nussmeier's never started.
Nope.
Jackson
Dart's probably your most experienced.
Dart, Beck, and
Quinn.
Milroe and Ewers, all experienced. But Jackson Arnold and guys like that, Brock Vandegrift and all that.
They're all at the highest plateau.
Nico Amaliava.
Yeah. They have the most players at the highest level, I think, that you would look to be like, all right, well, if we were going to take quarterbacks besides Shedeur Sanders, who seems for some reason, I don't know why. I mean, obviously, the upside, but to be a top 5 pick, if you were going to pick somebody to be a top 10 pick, it would mostly be out of the SEC with those quarterbacks.
I would say that there's, in the tiers of surefire winners to probable winners to we'll
Graham
see. The Big 12 probably has more surefire guys who are going to win you games, I think, than
playmakers.
Yeah, playmakers. Now that's a different thing. Milroe alone and Beck alone, maybe win that for the SEC. And I've even, we're not even into Dart or things like that. But yeah, I think that when you look at, the most even, again, it's the Big 12 is an evenly spread out league. The most evenly spread out set of quarterbacks is probably the Big 12.
It is.
Now there's a lot of questions probably at the bottom. And then, I know Baylor's still at the bottom of that because they're 3-9, but they really did go out and do better than I thought that they would in the transfer portal by getting DeQuan Finn. I honestly thought like DeQuan Finn would go to a team that was already like winning, you know.
Ohio State.
That one, no, I didn't think he was Ohio
Just the way
State.
he played against them a few years ago. But
but like, you know, I thought that like there would be a team like Maryland or something that would had a winning season, and he would like, that's where I thought like a DeQuan Finn would go. One that had less to prove than Dave Aranda does. But again, I mean, he's a good fit in the offense. And Jake Spavital is a guy quarterbacks usually have great seasons under.
To that end, I still think that Sawyer Robinson in this offense, I don't think he fit in the last offense. In this offense that he grew up playing, I always thought that he would also do well in this offense. Now, does he have the arm strength or anything requisite to be a high caliber quarterback? No, but I think Baylor's quarterback room in general is like just better than it has been in recent memory.
Yeah. And like
what that translates to wins on the field, I don't know.
But like, look, the SEC is the one who can probably, you know, exceed them. But look, the Big Ten's the other big league, right? That, you know, is supposed to be all that. Well, the only quarterbacks in that league I can tell you for sure are going to, you know, be really great in their offenses is Dylan Gabriel. I'm positive that he'll do great at Oregon. But Washington
stays healthy. Yeah.
Washington has Will Rogers. Purdue has Hudson Card. Indiana has a new quarterback. That's
Hudson Card's still with us.
Yeah,
not meaning dead, just in NCAA football.
He's still floating around.
But like, jeez. Okay, Michigan doesn't know who their guy's going to be yet, right? Michigan State has Aiden Childs. Like, you like that upside, but again, we've not seen Aiden Childs play college football yet. Drew Aller has a ton to prove. I'm surprised I didn't put him on my list yesterday, Garrett, but he was not a transfer. No. But like, as guys, he has a ton to prove.
I think that
at Penn State.
I think that. I'm blanking on his name that went to Ohio State is going to
Will Howard.
Will Howard, right? I think might be the best quarterback in that league.
I mean, I don't know. He and Dylan Gabriel are about the same to me. Maybe Gabriel.
You're down on Gabriel though.
I'm more high on Gabriel than Will Howard. I don't know if Will Howard.
I don't know. I always liked what Will Howard brought.
They both got run out. They both got run out for the same reason.
Yeah. But
I just kind of I liked every time that Kansas State would get the ball back, I always thought that Will Howard would just make a play. And to me, you can't quantify that in anything other than, man, that boy nice capability. I think, Dylan Gabriel obviously has shown the most upside, but just trusting Will Howard to make the right decision in that Ohio State offense, I think it's going to work.
Yeah.
I have a lot of faith that that's going to work. But didn't you say last week that he might not even start?
I mean, like he's in a legit battle. Like them bringing him in lit a fire under Devin Brown apparently, and So we'll see what happens. I mean,
then Julian Sayin coming from Bama.
Yeah, Julian Sayin coming in. You know, which means Aaron Nolan is going to be in the transfer portal next year. But yeah, They legit have a QB competition. Now, it's probably going to be Will Howard. You know, he's got the most skins on the wall, but, you know, I don't think he has as long of a leash as he did. Like, well, it's going to be maybe a very similar situation as he was just in.
Yeah.
But the thing about Will Howard, and like, this is the ultimate compliment I've ever heard a coach pay a player, which was we asked Chris Kleiman about, like, how is he not, given, like, the ups and downs of his career, not totally just a ghost out there. And he's like, you know, he told us most of the players that went through what Will Howard went through, having to play when you know, we absolutely had no plan for him to play. We were just happy for him to be in the program and, you know, lifting weights and getting better and learning the offense, have to go out there and play and do that, and then come back and be better and be better and be better and win a Big 12 title. Like, it shows you. Will Howard's got moxie, which I think is what's going to ultimately win it for him, is that
he's also 26 years old. I keep saying that he's in his sixth year, I think.
So, yeah, I mean, USC has Miller Moss, so we don't know about Miller Moss. Yeah. Like, in the Big Ten, like, there's way more quarterback questions than there are answers.
I wouldn't be shocked if a quarterback under under the USC offense, under the USC umbrella, would be good.
But this is the first time that Lincoln Riley has not had a guy who's almost a ready-made Heisman winner or candidate under, like, if you go back to Oklahoma and it was Baker and Kyler and Jalen Hurts, like Baker, Kyler, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams in a row. Like, you know.
Well, Caleb Williams was a freshman, though.
Yeah, but like, and he recruited Caleb Williams, but like, like Miller Moss, was highly recruited enough. But make no mistake, Miller Moss was not as highly recruited. I mean, Baker's a different story altogether. But
he was kind of like Spencer Rattler. He was highly recruited, but he's got to prove it where Rattler didn't do it.
Yeah. So those are the things. That's why, like, when all
Miller
these people
Moss sounds like an inside offensive lineman.
Yeah, he does.
Sound like
but
a quarterback.
They have that. But again, got to go prove it.
Yep.
Iowa is Cade McNamara. So, woohoo! Like, way to go.
How much?
The oatmeal of quarterbacks.
How much are we not taking into account that Iowa may just be better due to any significance of offense whatsoever?
Well, I don't know how much
semblance of offense whatsoever.
Maybe. I don't know how much it's going to change given the talent they have. But
and the other 4 coming in. I mean, they got more to work with now.
Yeah, they changed their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, my theory about Iowa is that Kirk Ferentz is going to get the rudest awakening of every old school coach when it comes to realignment because he had a plan that worked for them that's no longer going to work. Because when they were just win the crappier division, and if you lose to the 2 good teams that you have to play, you're still 10-2, or you might be 9-3 if you played a tough non-con game. You're 10-2, 9-3. You're in the Big Ten championship game, and come what may, let's see what happens. Like that was something that worked for them then, and everybody was fine with it until the last couple years when they're like, we're going to add these schools from California. And then the year after, they're like, you know what? We're going to let them bring 2 of their buddies from the Pacific Northwest as well. And they're like, oh, what are we going to do about the Big Ten this side of the conference? And they're like, oh, that's gone. It's over. We're going to have this weird rotating schedule where you won't be able to count on beating Minnesota and, all that. Like, who knows what's going to happen?
Since they've been down.
Yeah. So,
wait, they're in the other.
No, Nebraska's in there. Yeah. So Nebraska is probably going to have a true freshman in Dylan Raiola starting, who is probably better than anybody they've had, but still,
he's
still a true freshman. Like,
you would hope. You bet him $1 million.
So as we rank like leagues with quarterbacks, like the Big 12 has the most consistent answers across it, and it's very much on brand because they're the most evenly matched conference.
Is it answers or just people that we know are set in stone?
Well, I mean,
is it one or the other? Is that one or the other? I don't know.
I don't know. Like they do have like I would feel
this is just the guy that we're gonna start.
I would feel better knowing what I'm gonna get more with some of the quarterbacks in the Big 12 than I would other places. Like the SEC, like there might be a little nervous, right? Yeah. Like there might be like, oh, I hope Brock Vandagriff is good, but like, I mean, he just wasn't good enough to beat out Carson Beck,
right?
And they were like a year apart, like. All right, so
Tennessee has to find a new quarterback again, And
they got Nico Amaliava, who they paid a lot of money to get, so he better be good. And he looked good in the bowl game. That's all I can tell you.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M's got Connor Wigman if he can stay healthy, but he's in that middle tier, right? Of the probably good, like Connor and like under Colin Klein, probably going to be good.
Should be.
Like. Again, they're going to have an offense that runs more than 6 plays. And
go left, go right.
And, hey, guys, I got a 7th play. I found this in a book from 1992. No one's going to remember it. Thanks, Jimbo.
It's called the quarterback option.
Yeah. You'll never believe what's going to happen. Yeah, no, we've seen it. Like, no. Like, we know.
A lot of the Big 12. I mean, this is true of anywhere, but a lot of the Big 12 though at the top does depend on quarterback health. I mean, Cam Rising, and
Jalen Daniels.
God bless them. Yeah, they just had like a lot of their stuff for Jalen Daniels especially. I mean, we've seen it on the field in spray. It's like kind of just a theory. Jalen Daniels is an awesome theory.
Like the myth of Jalen Daniels.
Yeah, the myth of Jalen Daniels is awesome because we've all heard and maybe even seen clips.
Yeah.
Like Bigfoot walking through the woods. We've all maybe seen him. We've never shook his hand. Like I don't. It's Jalen Daniels. If he can play, I would love for him to play 12 to 14 games this year. And if he would have played that many. What did he play? Like 8 last year? 9 again?
I don't even
maybe
know. Maybe
not even that.
7?
Maybe 6?
I think he played like 6 or 7.
Yeah, and everybody was picking Kansas as the hot favorite, and that was all predicated upon Jalen Daniels being healthy, because when he's healthy, what is he, Robert Griffin III? Like, he's awesome.
Yes, actually, that's
awesome.
a great comp.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah, they're probably not going to win every single game because their defense is not going to let them. Like RG3's Heisman year.
Yeah.
Like they had a just a gutted out game against Kansas State where K-State and Bill Snyder made them play, Kansas State ball
In the
which
trenches,
they couldn't really do that. And then they had the back-to-back games against A&M and Oklahoma State that were,
Well, they can't win at Oklahoma State, so.
and they can't win at Kyle Field either.
Yeah.
So, like, it was the horror. The horror. I wish we had an intern at the station, Carter Burnell, who was the long snapper of that team. And Carter was great. I need to run him down. But Carter was great. But I saw him that night. It was a day game, and they got absolutely shredded in College Station. And it was bad. Like, they'd given him a 99-yard run before halftime. And I saw Carter at Cricket's that night, the local bar here in town. I saw Carter come in, and I was like, "Hey, man, here, let me
I got it.
Like, that time was probably illegal to do that.
Right.
But like, I don't think they were, like, here, come on, give me
It's a long snapper.
This guy, he's my intern. It's different.
Yeah.
Like, we give this guy a
Also,
beer. Give this guy a beer. It's been a rough day for him. I said, so what was it like? He goes, Coach Briles is usually pretty chill.
Yeah.
He's like, no, that was, he said, I've never been like the expletives that flew out of his mouth. I've never been beaten this bad in any of like my whole, this is the most embarrassed I've been of my team in my entire coaching career. And Briles hated A&M. He hated A&M and he hated Texas. Just hated them. And so, like, kind of like Mike Leach. Like, Mike Leach hated A&M and hated Texas so much. Like, he was indifferent. He coached at Oklahoma, so he was kind of indifferent about them. But as far as, like, Texas schools, he hated those so much. And Briles is the same way because I'm sure he, same kind of thing, grew up there. All that.
Houston, Texas Tech.
Yeah. So, like, that was – so, yeah. But yeah, I just remember that was, like, a really bad thing. And then after that, you thought, like, this Heisman campaign's probably derailed.
Right.
And then – he comes back and wins against Kansas, a team that was terrible. And then the next couple of games, they just go on this roll and beat Oklahoma, and you're like, well, there's the Heisman Trophy. So, But Jalen Daniels was like, if he plays 12 games, the dude's going to be a Heisman candidate. I promise you that.
Yeah, if you get Kansas to 9-10 wins, I mean, you have the backing. It just is there. I think I need him to put, because I hate to do it, but he is awesome when he is on the field. Cam Rising. Last time he was healthy, kind of more, I mean, he raises the ceiling for that Utah team because we saw what they were without Cam Rising, where it was a struggle bus to get any sort of, they were kept into the game because they would hit you in the mouth 1,000 times a game. But the Cam Rising makes that team sort of move in the best, I think he's elevated above a game manager, but in the sense that he, again, Will Howard makes the right plays. And last time he was healthy, I think 23, 25 touchdowns. That's probably where he's at. I want to see also the idea of Cam Rising is also, in theory, better than what we've seen over the last year because he just hasn't been on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. When we come back, let's talk about Doug Gottlieb.
Sure.
College basketball coach.
All right.
And still doing the Daily Show on the radio.
What?
Yeah. That's going to be a thing that happens in the world. Sure. And so, and we're friendly with Doug. I like Doug. We're friendly with him. Been on the show a bunch of times. I know that, like, people get mad at, like, your radio persona, but Doug, the real person's a really nice guy. So
his tweets are interesting.
Yeah. But again, like, there's the media personality and there's, like, the real guy. And there are enough separated from each other where I get it. I get his whole deal. I like Doug a lot. I do. I just friendly. He's always been friendly to me. Like, I'm not going to knock him. Like, here's the deal. I don't care for Stephen A. Smith on the air, but I've met him 2 times and he was very, very nice to me. So, like, I feel bad. Like, when I watch a show, I'm like, God, I hate this guy. He sucks. Like, but then I'm like, well, he was so friendly. I was with Q though. With Q and Q's mom, and it's hard to be mean to those two people. But I
to
digress.
you, he would have punched you in the face.
Yeah, but like those two people in particular, like Q's like the nicest guy in the world, and Q's mom is like the best. Like she's such a sweet lady. So you're not going to be mean. So both those times we were there. So anyway, when we come back though, Doug Gottlieb, college basketball coach, that's coming up next on the Triple Option.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back. Royden Ogletree alongside Garrett Ross as well. And Royden, we got some news in the college basketball coaching world today. And I didn't know this job had yet to be filled. I mean, it's May 14th, for God's sakes. But Green Bay, college in Wisconsin, is hiring Fox Sports personality.
Oh, a little Freudian.
They're hiring Brian Kilmeade.
Yeah.
Brian Kilmeade's going to be the head coach. Jesse Waters is going to be the assistant coach.
Kellyanne Conway is going to.
Yeah, and we're gonna call this play. Can you believe what the liberals are doing today? But yeah, Laura Ingram's going to be on the staff. But Doug Gottlieb, Fox Sports Radio, longtime radio personality, but former Oklahoma State star. As a matter of fact, he's one of their better players when he was there. But he is going to be. He wants the Oklahoma State coaching job badly. Like, he really wants to coach at his alma mater.
Wasn't that the original rumor?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was trying to, but it was not going to happen. He cannot, like, as good as he might be, like, whatever unearthed coaching talent he has.
Yeah.
Your first job cannot be trying to resuscitate Oklahoma State.
You can't be learning on the job at your alma mater, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying you can't be learning on the job in the big freaking 12. Like, look, I know everybody can have an internship, but, like, not everybody gets to start, like, at NASA. Like, that's what's going on. You agree with me, Garrett?
No, I do.
If you've not been a coach, like, he's not even been in coaching. It's not like he's been an assistant coach. He's been in the media, which I don't think means he doesn't know how to coach basketball. I think that is a misnomer. I think JJ Redick's about to get an NBA head coaching job.
I think it's equally as silly.
It might, yeah, and I don't think being in the media and, like, knowing how to coach are mutually exclusive. I just know that there's a hierarchy to things, and you can't, like, not everybody can be Deion Sanders where you can, and even he, like, had to go to Jackson State.
He was at Jackson State.
So, like, you can't just say, like, he tried, like, here's the deal. He did the same thing. Mm-hmm. He tried to get the FSU job when they fired Willie Taggart, and FSU's like, look, man, like,
what have you done?
We can't.
Besides be Deion Sanders. I mean, this
isn't you taking over for a team that's that's already set up. This is you taking over for a team that's in total disarray and is on the opposite side of what they were.
And people are mad.
Yes. So we don't know if we can sell them on, no, trust us, like you weren't in the interview.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that it's going to be tough. And so, yeah, look, do I think that Doug Gottlieb, I mean, could he work his way up the ladder and eventually, get his job at his alma mater like he wants? Sure, maybe. Like, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. I just think that you can't just say, like, I would really love that job at Oklahoma State and expect, like, well, they're going to hire you in the best basketball conference in the country.
Well, damn, Doug. Congratulations.
Yeah. You don't.
My thing with this is if you're serious, if he's serious about that, like if, at the end of the day, if that's your ultimate goal is to be the head coach at your alma mater or coach in a Power 5 position in general, then you need to go all in on one or the other. Like you realistically, it is difficult, we know, to come in and host a show every day or put together a show. And then you're telling me you're going to go into the modern landscape of college basketball where you got to assemble a staff you've never done before. You're going to have to learn how to navigate the portal. You talk about it every day. That's great. But you're going to have to actually navigate it. You're going to have to recruit. Like there's no way you could do all of that and have do them both at a high level.
Do a 3-hour syndicated radio show.
So, like, to me, like, you either need to go all in and be a coach and learn and take this opportunity at Green Bay to reach your ultimate goal, or if you wanted to do that, like, maybe coach high school a little bit, like a private prep or something, and do that. But I don't see you being able to realistically coach a program like this, do a show, and make both work. Like, I just don't see it.
Well, there's a reason that any of these big programs, it's called the Nick Saban show with Nick Saban, and it's like an hour on a Thursday, but it's hosted by the local radio host, and Nick Saban comes in and gives his opinions about everything and anything, and then he's gone. It's not the Doug Gottlieb show with head coach Doug Gottlieb, 3 hours of my time, which plus show prep, that's then going to still be syndicated to a national Fox Sports audience. It's asinine to think that you have that much time, especially, especially if you want to then try to make the push. You have to succeed highly at Green Bay to then convince Big 12 program, or a big power conference program that you're worth the risk. And let me tell you, they're not going to let you do that show.
Yeah. No, I mean, so.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, and he's still going to do the show, which he has things that are not at our disposal, at least at this point in our development. Now, if you guys click like and subscribe and like and subscribe and like and subscribe and keep viewing videos and do those things, one day they will be. So listen, it's on you. You chat room clowns. No, that's the worst way to ask for that, isn't it? Yeah. They're like, listen, it's on you. Thank you for watching. No, seriously, I love you all unconditionally, except for Alan.
It's a lot of you. Please subscribe.
Listen, I love every single one of you except for Alan. Alan, I just kind of like you. We're fine, Alan. We're fine.
Everything's good.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. We don't need to have a talk. We're fine. I don't believe you. Jack, I don't need your attitude today. So
stop interrupting, Jack.
Yeah. No, but yeah, we don't have those things. So Doug Gottlieb will be able to walk in, sit down, and he'll get a text that'll say, like, today we've got
have a producer.
We have Justin Verlander. Yeah. We have this. We have this. We have this. This we're going to talk about, and then he can work on that and then do a show and call it a day. Although I do think that it's a show that's as long as ours. It's going to be problematic for him down the line. I really do, because.
Especially at a midday slot. It's not like you're doing anything in the middle of the day.
Recruiting and all that.
That's what I'm saying. There's too much going into
Tuesday and Saturday, like Tuesday night games.
Yeah. He's going to have guest co-hosts way more than you think.
Yeah. Somebody will get their start filling in for the Doug Gottlieb show.
Yeah. And one of the things I'll tell you, and this was kind of where, ESPN radio kind of hit the wall and had to shake things up, and they've never really regained their footing. And now have been more in the podcast space, obviously. Yeah. But
in fact, half their radio shows are just podcast re-airs.
Yeah, they had the best radio lineup you could possibly imagine. I mean, they had Mike and Mike in the morning.
SVP and Russillo.
They had, even before that, that was Dan Patrick's slot. Before it was that. So they had Dan Patrick. They had this great, fantastic lineup. And then, it started with, well, we're not going to give Dan Patrick what he wants on a renewal. So Dan Patrick goes off and he has, in my opinion, it's the best like sports still classic radio show.
Yes, it is.
Even though it works at all the mediums because of the way that they produce it. Dan Patrick has the best. I mean, he's got a fantastic show. I think a lot of like even McAfee, I think McAfee's like kind of ripped off his setup a little bit and just thrown McAfee's personality into it. Because if you look at the way they do the show, it's very similar. And Dan Patrick, like where it's McAfee over here and then the minions all across the studio.
Right.
So, but then I think, and they had Mike and Mike, which is a fantastic, fantastic sports radio show. Really, really good. And then Mike and Mike go their separate ways. I won't get into all the inside gossip on it, but
you can look it up. It's been written about.
It was not great. And so, Garrett, you were at the radio station when we were dealing with all that, right? Where like
kinda,
yeah, right at the end before they went completely off the air.
They were trying to figure out how to do the show.
The thing is that Mike and Mike were not in the same room very often. Like they were not doing the show.
Yeah.
So it would be one of them and somebody else, and one of them and somebody else, or neither of them and two fill-in hosts.
Yeah.
That's what's about to happen with the Doug Gottlieb show, I think, is because he'll try to do it until he's probably under contract, so he's probably going to try to maximize that out. But eventually it's going to be, well, like, dude, you've got to recruit.
Well, it feels to
all
me
the time.
still like holding on to your backup chute. You know what I mean? I mean, your parachute has been deployed, but you're still like holding on to the rip cord like really, really tight for the second chute. Mm-hmm. Even though you're fine, you got this new thing. Yeah, bad analogy, but I'm just saying it just feels like you're holding on to the next thing. And I get like contracts and stuff like that, and it is probably maybe a better revenue stream than the Green Bay basketball coaching job. I don't know, but it's a nationally syndicated show on Fox Sports, like probably, right?
Yeah.
I just think that this push to, I like that Gottlieb's going to somewhere like Green Bay before they gave him the job at Oklahoma State. I don't think that would go well for him and the fans of Oklahoma State right away because I don't think they would be good right away. Who knows? I think this push should be like, this guy talks about basketball and stuff. This guy talks about football all the time. He used to play, so he should know it. Is so much different than, especially in the college game, than I've been in the weeds grinding. I know what recruiting visits look like. I know how to schedule all this stuff. I've come up through the ranks of having to be able to plan all of this out. Mm-hmm. I've been able to plan all my time. I've been able to manage a staff. I've been able to, be the second guy and be the guy that other people come to with problems, and then escalating yourself into that job instead of just I talk about basketball a lot and I used to play, so I'm good to go. I think it's just different. I think it's a different beast.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, well, he used to play. Well, why wouldn't J.J. Redick be he was in those locker rooms. Maybe for the NBA, it's a little bit different because you're going in and you're just coaching. Mm. But it's managing personalities and managing, locker room and managing a staff. It's just a whole different thing than he talks about it really well, so he should be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
I just think it's different.
No, it is. It is. And we'll see, again, I don't think it excludes anybody from being able to do it.
Yeah.
I think that when you start putting definite parameters on something, you probably limit yourself to outside the box ideas that it will work.
Right. And that's
but
why
I think you're right. It's fine to look at it, but I don't
that's why every NBA coach has been recycled to the end of time.
My thing about a JJ Redick and the Lakers would be okay, if this is JJ Redick, if you're really trying to maximize LeBron's last run, is JJ Redick the guy that you think can make this team work that has not worked in a full season? Mm-hmm. Yes, they won the title in the bubble.
Yeah, everybody got to rest.
But then, what have they done? And the same thing with Doug Gottlieb. If Green Bay, you got to have a proving ground. And if he can do it, more power to him. Good for him. I'm glad he gets to be a coach. I do wonder how he will balance his media job with it. All right, we're going to take a quick break right here. When we come back, best and worst off seasons in the NFL. Royden's favorite team might be on the best list. This is the Triple Option on 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
All right, wrapping it up. Best and worst NFL off seasons.
Doing this my happy dance a little bit because never in my entire life have the Texans been talked about so greatly.
Okay.
And so kindly
in the
media.
What was a bad thing they did? Can you think of a bad thing they did?
I don't like taking off the back end years off of Stephon Diggs' contract, actually. I don't think the second round swap to then be like, prove yourself under our contract when we're probably not even going to pay you anyway.
Yeah.
Because we need to pay Nico Collins if he has another good season.
Yeah.
And Nico Collins is 24.
But that's what Diggs kind of wanted, though.
Yeah, I know it's what he wanted. I'm just saying you make the trade for a second round. The value of a second round swap in that Minnesota could be really, really bad and that pick could be very valuable next year. To swap that.
With Buffalo, who's probably going to be still okay.
With Buffalo, who's still going to be okay and still going to get more back, and they compete in the AFC. To then be the value is that you want the back end years on that contract just in case. I just say to keep more talent on the roster for cheaper. I think that is better until Stephon Diggs blowing up at week 8.
Yeah,
in a contract year isn't great.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, that's fair, but
I think it's fine, and I also think
minor.
It's pretty minor. I also think not getting I like the cornerback that they got. I think not getting one of like Kool-Aid McKinstry or Cooper DeJean was kind of a miss. Letting those teams trade up to get in front of you was sort of a miss too as well. I'm also not sure how well the Joe Mixon contract is going to work out, but they needed a better running back.
Like they were so bad at that. Yeah. And they've been so bad at it since Arian Foster left. So.
Right, yeah. I mean, Devin Singletary wasn't quite moving the needle. And my guy who's from Florida, I'm blanking on his name, Dameon Pierce, God bless him, doesn't know how to read a defense. So that's fun. So I like it, but we'll see. I think, but the additions of Danielle Hunter and stuff really outweigh anything that you could nitpick at those signings.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think there's that. I think that the Texans had a great offseason. I think the 49ers had a pretty good one,
in that they just stood pat.
Yeah, but I mean they didn't get let the rumors about Brandon Ayuk and all that get to them, and they I really like their draft. I know that some people didn't, but they just drafted guys who were ready to play.
Right.
I think To me, the Texans probably had the best overall.
Well, it's the one. It scares me because it's the one that everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
Remember when the Eagles had what Vince Young said is like a what did he call it? A super team?
Yeah.
He called it a super team. And then they sucked. They were like 8-8.
I would have just said that they're making good decisions consecutively. I think the Eagles had a great offseason too, but
they always win the offseason.
Yeah. I think there's teams that like had good drafts, but I think like holistically in the offseason, like the Steelers, I think did really well. I mean, even like I'm not sold on Russ, but I think I'm sold on Russ being better than what they had. Yeah. And I'm sold on Justin Fields being better than what they had, and maybe even being better long term.
You think that's an actual quarterback competition?
No.
I think it's Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think it's Russell Wilson's to lose for sure. And but I do think that the minute he gets hurt, he might have a problem. Because I really I think if they do the right thing with Justin Fields, they can be very successful.
People think that Tampa Bay is spending like fake money at this point, but I do like the fact that they trust Baker and are keeping him around and are decided to keep Mike Evans around. I like what Tampa Bay is doing, especially in a division that, they keep saying it's Atlanta's probably to lose, but I still think that division's super winnable for them. So I like what Tampa Bay is doing also. Yeah. And a lot of the teams in the AFC South as well, I mean, people kind of knock Jacksonville, but, for kind of flubbing the deal with their wide receiver.
Oh, Calvin Ridley?
Calvin Ridley, kind of flubbing that deal. But I like what they added in the draft, kind of out of necessity. But Brian Thomas, who's projected to them, I think fills that gap nicely. I think it's going to be the AFC South in general sort of improved as a whole. But really, it's the Texans and look, the Bears. You can't help but be better.
Yeah, you can't. You can't.
All the things that they added, if they're not good, it'll be tough, and they're going to have one of the worst schedules in the league.
Okay, worst off seasons.
It's the Dallas Cowboys.
It is the Dallas Cowboys. It's the Dallas Cowboys. And look, their draft was fine.
He whispers into
it was good. Like their draft filled a lot of needs that they had.
Yeah,
and drafted some good players. I'm not mad at the draft. I'm mad they didn't get a running back in the draft or didn't plan that out well enough. But when they're
kind of sold their hand a little early, maybe.
Yeah, but when their answer is like, "Oh, look, Zeke's coming back," I'm like, "Oh, come on, man! Like, all right, like give me all the locker room stuff and all of that, but we've seen it."
Yeah.
And here's the thing: are you making the world better for Dak Prescott? And yes, like long term, the Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton and Tyler Smith together, it's going to be a lethal offensive line group for I don't really doubt that. They've been really good at nailing that over the years. However, if you want to make him good for now, entrusting that to rookie offensive linemen is dicey. If you want Zeke to be effective, trusting that to rookie offensive linemen at 2 of the 5 spots is dicey. And not to mention that you have this stupid way of doing extensions, which is never right. And you just watch. Jared Goff's going to get $53 million a year. All right? Okay, well, that's now more money and probably a heavier contract and a clunkier deal that you're going to have with Dak. When all this could have been done months ago. Have anybody heard a word in the NFL world about Jared Goff and needing their extension, blah, blah, blah? No. You know why they did it? Because they had to. Yeah. Because it was something they had to do. It was a necessity to keep the core of the team together and capitalize on the good players you have right now. So, CeeDee Lamb, you could have done already.
Yeah.
Dak, you could have done already. But the Cowboys like to do this
Somehow
thing.
the Lions are finding money to extend Amon-Ra St. Brown and way overvalued too for some of these.
So,
I like Amon-Ra, but just some now, what these guys are getting.
They put themselves in a position where I think they like to put it to where the fans get mad at the player.
Why hasn't he re-signed yet?
Well, it's his fault. It's his fault. No, it's not. The whole league is doing it a different way than the Cowboys. And the Cowboys keep tripping over the same, they run around the track and there's one, if they're doing the steeplechase, every time they're running around the track, they're doing great. They're running, they're sprinting, they're ahead of everybody. That little hurdle in the puddle comes up and they're whap.
Right at the end.
Every time. Boom. fall in the puddle. And they're like, man, look at all these other guys. They get over the damn puddle. And
in fact, there's YouTube compilations of how many times you've tripped into the puddle.
Yeah. And then when everybody's like, hey, why do you guys keep falling in the puddle? They're like, listen, all these other teams that are jumping over the puddle, they're not as smart as we are. Like, oh, we know what we're doing.
You
like,
want us to fall in that puddle, actually.
Like, what we're doing, like, the puddle is where you want to be. There's untapped potential in the puddle. That's how I feel like they're saying is like, look, yeah, sure. I'm seeing Kansas City. Like they didn't even know what the water feels like. They just jumped straight over the thing.
They flew, in fact.
Right over. They don't know. The Eagles, like, well, they fell in the puddle at the end of last year, and they're like, oh, man, the puddle sucks. Let's make sure we don't do that again.
Yeah.
And they're in our division. Like, no. Listen, you guys don't know what it's like here in the puddle. Like, the puddle is
nice.
It's interesting. It's cool.
Yeah.
It looks muddy, but it's not. It's just the color of the track.
Yeah. You may get sepsis, but nobody's going to.
Yeah. So
I will say though too. I mean, we talk a lot, and we're going long, but we talk a lot about the Cowboys and how the Denver Broncos still don't have a quarterback.
They have Bo Nix.
They have people in the quarterback room. Mm-hmm. And trust me, as a big Jarrett Stidham believer for a time in my life,
yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be the solution in Denver. Also, they just don't have players, so I don't know what's happening in Denver, but them having to pay Russell Wilson to not be on their team is awful.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, their offseason wasn't great either.
No.
There was not. And then when you have, like, you kind of have a belt, like, and maybe it starts with Bo Nix. And, like, I don't know. I enjoy Bo Nix. I think that he'll be a fun quarterback to watch develop. Mm-hmm. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I know that, again,
by the time he's 28 in 3 months, he'll be
much like Will Howard. He's got moxie. Moxie's an underrated thing,
right?
So yeah, we'll see, but I don't think they've done enough to around a rookie quarterback, right? To make it where if he has to start, that he's going to be all that successful.
Yeah. Also, the Patriots had $1 billion to spend in free agency and just simply didn't. So that's really fun to surround your rookie quarterback.
Well, I think they're going to let Jacoby Brissett take some lumps before Drake rolls out there. So
yeah, I love to put Drake May in week 8 when all of your offensive line is hurt.
Yeah,
love that. Very good.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. We got some stuff to film, Garrett. As a matter of fact, so we should have probably stopped early, but we're not going to do that. We stopped early on Monday. Mm-hmm. We're not going to do that today. We're going to give you 2 extra minutes.
No, it's because, it's this whole thing.
It works.
Yeah.
It works.
We've got Moxie.
Yeah. We've got a loaded show for you today. We've got Sonny Dykes today. Ooh. We've got Rob Bolton making golf picks, so I'm glad Emery's here.
PGA Championship?
Yeah, PGA Championship pick. We've got
Mac Rhodes in studio.
So there's a lot we've got to do. Plus one of the dudes from Saturday Down South, which is really cool, college football website. That's all coming up at 3 o'clock. This is the Triple Option on 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together